Fellow patriots, it is my honor to introduce to you a man who has sacrificed much for this nation. Risking life and limb, he has been a caller across this nation, warning against impending battle and struggle. And his name is not Paul Revere.
That's the, oh my gosh. That's the mama.
There's a man that I'm going to introduce. He is very intimately familiar with the Constitution of this great nation. Almost as if he was there, as it was written. But his name is not Thomas Jefferson. Now let me tell you who he is not. He's not one that pretends to be your defender and a fellow patriot. But when they get away from your vision,
that's awesome.
And your reach,
right there, dude.
They become a Benedict Arnold. He is not that man. He has defended this Constitution with his very life for decades. He's been persistent and patient. He has stood for liberty. And his name is not John Adams or Samuel Adams. His name, ladies and gentlemen, and would you please stand and help me welcome Dr. Ron Paul.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Nice crowd. Thank you for coming out. It's a good celebration, isn't it? Great day. Before I get started, I want to introduce my wife. Most of you should know my wife by now. Carol sitting here. Most of you know we have 5 children. 2 of them are here today. Ronnie, the oldest, is with his wife Peggy. Then they go here. And they have 3 girls, but Lisa's here with them today.
I couldn't move anywhere.
Our oldest daughter is here with her husband Tom. And she has a couple of her grandkids. I can't believe she don't got that grand. What does that mean? Thank you very much for coming and celebrating today this wonderful event. There are some days, though, I feel rather frustrated about the whole issue of the Constitution, because if you believe strongly in the rule of law, the Constitution should mean something. And we've lived a long time where we have sent too many people to Washington who didn't care all that much about the Constitution. I think that ought to change.
Yeah, it should.
It's real easy to blame those in Washington for the neglect of the Constitution. You think what the presidents do and how many things they do that are unconstitutional. They write executive orders and signing statements. They go to war. They write regulations, and it's just totally out of control. As well as the judicial branch. They're supposed to judge the law, but they write law quite frequently too. What does the Congress do? The Congress, do they live up to their oath of office and do the things they're supposed to do and be responsible? No, they're always too anxious to do something that's not in the Constitution, the things they're supposed to do, they allow somebody else to do. So there's been a lot of neglect in Washington to protect the Constitution. And yet, today, there's plenty of blame to go around. You know, are we going to pick the Congress or the courts or the executive branch for the greatest abuse of our Constitution? I don't think we can limit it there. And I think we, as a people, have some of the responsibility too. Because what happened was, even though the Constitution, though imperfect, was written and designed to try to restrain the federal government, There's a lot of thou shalt nots in there. It was never meant to restrain you. It was meant to restrain the federal government. That was you know what? After the signing of the document, Franklin said, when he was asked what he had, he said, well, we're giving you a republic if you can keep it. Unfortunately, we are on the last legs of our republic unless we really wake up and do something about it. And it isn't going to be, once again, saying, well, they better do something up in Washington. It has to be done at the grassroots. We lost a lot of our constitutional rights because of the complacency of the people. People either just said, I'm not worried about it, I'm doing fine, and we're getting along quite well. Or the people took the position that they wanted special privileges. They figured, well, if we have a government that will take care of us from cradle to grave, and they march off and do all these wonderful things around the world, we're not going to care about them. And something dramatically has changed here in the last several years. And I think it's very, very healthy that a group of people who are now generally identified as the Tea Party movement have stood up and said, no more. We want not only our country back, but we want our rule of law back, and we want people to obey the Constitution in Washington, D.C.
Yes, we do.
I've often said that the real question that we have to ask as a people is, what should the role of government be? And the founders, those who resented the king and decided that they didn't like the abuse of the king, they asked the same question, what should the role of government be? And they did not like the role the king was playing. So there was first an intellectual revolution that led then to a very violent revolution, and we got our independence. And some of the strongest motivation for the Constitutional Convention had to do with two major issues. One issue was the trade among the states, and there were a lot of restrictions. And the other big issue was that every state had a different currency, and too often they were just printing the money. And this was very cumbersome. The economy wasn't doing all that great after the Declaration of Independence and up until the Constitution, because of this disagreement about what should be done. So that was what was supposed to be done, just to correct these two problems. And some argued that they went too far and they developed a whole new system that generally lent itself to be known that it could be diluted. Others said that, others were anxious to have a much stronger national government. But they did address the two major issues. One was the money issue. So that is why when we have in the Constitution very clearly the issue of money is dealt with, and in the Constitution it is directly said that nobody in the government cannot emit bills of credit, which is paper money. So I would say if you really understood that and understood the provision in there that says that only gold and silver can be used as legal tender, and also the understanding that there is no explicit authorization to start a central bank, the conclusion is we should have hard money and no Federal Reserve System.
That's right.